There's going to be Goobsy with the break to kick us off then in this pivotal fourth match of the evening. Oh, he balls close. Makes a couple of late balls, and I tell you what, that might come out okay, you know.
Depends on the red nearest the top right-hand corner. If there's access to that red, then these reds are an absolute delight. If not, then it's a little bit of a messy table. I think there is just about room to pot it, maybe not from where they are now, but pot another ball and then get back to it. But you can tell it is tight.
I think the issue is if you pot it, you're likely going into the yellow. You probably can't move the cue ball very far.
Well, if that's the case, then you could come back, could get to the middle of the table and play the plant, because you could feather the yellow on the way through and it'd be fine. That might be the way to do it. Will be reds, though.
Yeah, it had to be really. Could play the plant now.
There may be more room there than you think, and you don't need the plant, because especially with the 8 ball being near the left centre, you don't have to do a huge amount to be on it, or be on the red up there as well. So there's a few different ways to deal with that area of the table. This is a very delicate shot, though. Yeah, that wasn't that easy.
Yeah, a real touchy little pop that for Scott Gillespie, and just got it wrong. Put me in, coach, says Phil Harrison. And I think they're a little bit betwixt and between.
I think they're thinking loss of turn. The yellow's going to come back and lay a snooker at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the choice. Oh, the double kiss isn't nice. So Harrison gets a decent poke at these with Cam Tolley.
I think he's got the right angle to be able to develop the only bad ball straight away. It might be a little bit better if he was a couple of rolls further right, but he can certainly make the angle.
Oh, that's a lovely shot. It really is just beautifully executed. He really has just been, for the last sort of 48, 72 hours, he's just been playing pool from another galaxy, Phil Harrison.
The best way to think about it is, it feels like, I mean, we're nearly 3 years into Ultimate Pool. It feels like Phil Harrison's turned up. I mean, this is the level he's played at for years. It's just he hasn't quite been at his game for the first 3 years with Ultimate Pool, and he still managed to win a title.
Yeah. And make, I think, 2 finals on the Pro Series.
Yeah.
Shows the level that he operates at. Tolley sets him up beautifully on this one. And as simple an 8 ball as you'll ever get.
Very good, that one. The match play of that is fantastic. They get to the table, it looks messy, looks horrible. A beautiful loss of turn shot. They get the rewards by having an angle to break out their other bad ball, and all of a sudden it's a lovely layout, and then they fly through them.
smiles at the moment for Gillespie and Burnett. Serious stuff. They did speak about that in their interview. Said, oh, you know, it is a really fun event to play in, but you can't help but take it seriously once you're out there.
Yeah, it's a fun event to play in, which means you want to play in it a lot, which means you want to get through this and get back again to do it all again in the second stage.
Yeah, completely. You really just want to revel in every single second of this tournament. Well, Phil gives his cue a twirl. What's he got?
Extension called. Back to the singles events here, or singles frame, and a messy middle of the table. Try to get some movement then. It's opened up one red a little bit. The other red is still in a slightly tricky situation.
Yeah, it's not easy, this.
You don't really want to play into it again from the middle of the table because you're knocking it down towards the bottom right, which is not where you want to put it with all those yellows there. Obviously it does go up the table, but no good ball to get there.
Yeah, this is not a picnic of a frame for Scott Gillespie by any stretch of the imagination. This is work. Real graft here. I think this might be the connecting shot. Is his plan to top through off this red to the middle, land about level in line with the red to the opposite middle. Then can you get a little bit of action? Well, that was on. That's not the route that Scott's taking, which might suggest to me that it wasn't.
Yeah, it's still going to be tricky. Whatever he's decided to do for this last ball, it's going to be very hard to get good on it.
Well, can he maybe land underneath it now? Is that the plan?
Yeah, but is the other red in the way if he lands underneath it now? Does he not need to get rid of the other one first? Well, I think his plan was to land straight on the red and then come underneath it. And I don't think he has landed straight.
I think the only way you're straight here is if you go off the yellow.
Yeah.
And that's really tough.
If he screws straight back by playing it off the yellow, he might be very close to hitting the 8-ball half ball, which would leave you on the red. No, he had the right angle, just under hit it.
Oh, close. Don't even think if he can see any of this red. Now, Scott is one of the best shot makers I've ever seen. He can pull a magic star out wherever you like. He's going to need to. Couldn't quite make it happen. Big chance. Crunch time for Phil Harrison and Cameron Tolley. Two up with less than 10 minutes to play would be a very sweet lead.
And he should be wide open here, nothing in the way. level he's been playing, this should be fairly light work for him.
Talked about Phil Harrison's Pro Series performance a little bit earlier. We're back with the Pro Series this weekend. Should be a fantastic weekend. We're up in Blackpool again for the Summer Showdown. Live from Thursday all the way through to Sunday this week.
See if anybody can do what Phil Harrison did this weekend and stop Tom Cousins.
Yeah.
Who is flying. Last time out, he won them both.
Oh, he's going to have a real bounty on his head this weekend, isn't he? He's the man to beat.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And likewise for the challengers, Connor Tracy won both events the last time we were there. Or eyes too, maybe on Stevie Dempsey, got us back-to-back finals. Be a very, very interesting weekend. And of course, the Pro Series debut of one Mark Selby.
Very excited for that. First individual match, I think, since 2007 in the pool world. Very excited to see him out there.
Phil Harrison has made his way very calmly through these, which is no great surprise to take a 2-0 lead. And well, we talk about the sort of the snooker invasion into the 8-ball game. If we take a look at next week's Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup lineup, it is pretty tasty. Sean Story and Chris Day made a semi-final last year. They are joined in the group by Kyron Wilson, teaming with Ian Hay. Elsewhere, got Usama Maskini and James Mear. James and Liam Roberts. Hugely excited to see Kyron Wilson on the 7x4.
Yeah, we've got quite a few new snooker players making their Ultimate Pool debut in the Pairs Cup this year, Kyron being one of them. Very excited to see what he can bring to the small table. Been going very well in the snooker world over the last few years.
Yeah, 147 at the Crucible this year as well, wasn't it, for Kyron?
Breakout shot coming up.
Plays it well. Jamie Burnett himself, of course, came from a snooker background.
Shade more angle than he wanted here. In an ideal world, he'd like to have been able to come down the table on that last shot and play the one left centre and then come on down, but has to play it this way. And yeah, the fact that he had too much angle meant he had to try and use the left-hand side cushion, and that's really cost him. He couldn't just float that one down.
That's a really tough shot. He's having a look at where he can leave this cue ball. Because if he can just screw this in and get somewhere close to the right side rail and he has a gap, then he should be just about okay. But I mean, this is pretty horrible. But if anyone knows the natural angles, be someone like Jamie Burnett. 1, 2, 3, need to bounce. Well, the line was perfect.
Yeah, he's picked out an amazing line there.
That's where he wanted to be. So he's going to use the cushion to help him out. Can he pull out a bit of a worldie? Oh, yes, he can. What a shot. Jamie Burnett, what a shot that is. 8-ball to complete the job. And he slid the double, would you believe it?
Just had to hit this one. Just had to hit it. He allowed it to slide on him. If he plays it with just a hair more pace, it holds its line, it goes in the middle, and that would have been, well, clearance out of this world, wouldn't it?
Oh, that was such a good shot on the red. It deserved the 8-ball. An unbelievable recovery shot that. But that, in essence, goes to show that the intricacies of this game can be so difficult, because all that went wrong in that visit to the table was in having slightly, and we're talking slightly more angle on one red than he wanted.
Yeah, and we can't be too critical here because we don't know how he was thinking out there. He had to get near straight, and he left himself 3/4 ball. But Jamie's good enough to get himself straight in that sort of situation. So I don't know. You can't. My question here is it slightly Claire's thinking? Is he thinking I'd play that one to get on that one to get on that one, rather than thinking about the angles he needs on each of them to be able to connect them all up? Or was it that he just got the execution slightly wrong?
Must feel like 10 feet tall if you're Cameron Tolley and you play a couple of good shots and you've got Phil Harrison applauding your shots in the corner.
Well, I always think it can go one or two ways. I sort of put my mind in myself in a sort of position of some of these guys, and you're thinking, when you've got one of the greatest players of all time as your partner, all of a sudden there's pressure on you to perform.
Yeah, 100%. He's a little bit short here, I think. No, he's just about okay.
He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, absolutely okay. I think it helps Cam in that sense that he has known Phil for an awful long time. He's the more experienced player, and there's not many players that can say that to Phil Harrison. Yeah, lovely finish in the end from Cam Tolley. Took those out nicely, a couple of really nice shots in them. And a 3-0 lead with less than 3.5 minutes to play. That one really needed to go for Gillespie and Burnett. Really did need to go, but go it didn't. I think they're just talking about the cushions sliding at the moment. The inquiry begins.
Yeah, the shot that went wrong though for that clearance from Jamie was didn't involve a cushion.
Yeah,
that's the issue for him. Obviously, nearly pulled out an unbelievable clearance.
So onto the Scotch we go. Both Phil and Cam will have shots at the table in this frame. That is if Cameron makes a ball off the break. Makes a couple. He's sledged that cut break tonight, hasn't he, Cameron Tolley? Really breaking well.
Yeah, you can see the difference between Cameron's cut break and a couple others we've seen tonight. He's really catching it. Good chance here on the yellows. Good chance on the reds if they want to go reds. I think yellows are the order of the day.
Just for the first shot more than anything else.
Depends on the 8-ball here. Will determine what route they fancy. That time it was clearly in time.
Yeah, he was okay.
Phil just looks over and says pop balls. I asked the question about the 8-ball. They've decided just a little nudge open. The reason being, if the red wasn't above the 8-ball, they probably wouldn't have looked to move it. It was just access to it to get it to play it to the bottom left. Wasn't wide open, so just nudge it all open, guaranteed to get position on the next ball whilst doing that.
Phil really does look so comfortable out there tonight, doesn't he?
Anyway, he has done it all weekend long. Just been fantastic.
Takes on the harder shot for the better route. Out the pocket. Yeah, he's flying. He really is flying. And well, this for a 4-0 win. Phil Harrison and Cameron Tolley will have their fate in their own hands. Jamie Burnett and Scott Gillespie can only put the pressure on with a result in their next match. But as it stands, Phil Harrison and Cameron Tolley have control with the first group of the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup.